All right, San Antonio Spurs beat the Knicks 115 to 111, and it was an awesome game. The President of the United States is in attendance. They show his orange face on the screen, and all of New York City just boos the shit out of the president. So, Spurs fans, Knicks fans, I think we can all get together and love that moment at least. Um, it's hilarious. Donald Trump, they close off like fucking 10 blocks around Madison Square Garden so Trump doesn't get assassinated or whatever. And they close off just so much space. No one can get into the game. It's like a 1 or 2 hour wait just to get in there because special service just all around. And then Trump just gets the shit booed out of him and just fucking falls asleep in the first minute of the game. So that was fucking hilarious. Spurs fans are out in New York City, and New York Knicks fans are tearing jerseys off Spurs fans out there and just beating up and assaulting Spurs fans, to be honest. So that's really, really shitty to do. I'll say this: if you live in New York, you're probably not a horrible person. You're probably not a scumbag. New York's population, I think it's 8 million. San Antonio's population is 1.5 million. So it's like 5 times as many people. Just off the population, there's probably more good people in New York than there are in San Antonio, and there's probably more bad people in New York than there are in San Antonio because there are just so many more fucking people over there. But if you're a Knicks fan, tearing Spurs fans' jerseys off in the streets of New York, you're a scumbag. If you support people doing that and you're a Knicks fan, you're a scumbag. But if you're a Knicks fan, you could probably still be an awesome person. I'm sure there's plenty out there. One thing that'll bother me, people say Spurs fans this, Knicks fans that, Lakers fans, OKC fans. They're all like this just because they heard one Knicks fan, Spurs fan, whatever it is. They heard one fan say one thing, or they watched one video of Knicks fans assaulting Spurs fans in the streets. And it's scummy. It's real New York scumbag behavior. And if you do that, or if you support that, you are a scumbag. But again, I'm not going to put New York Knicks fans all under one umbrella just because certain fans do some scumbag behavior. But yeah, let's talk about basketball again. It's fucking hilarious. They boo the shit out of Donald Trump. He falls asleep in the first minute of the game. Um, One more thing. When Knicks fans are in San Antonio, they just come by. They're seeing our city. We're not assaulting Knicks fans and tearing their jerseys off their bodies. So again, that's really disappointing. I'm sure there's people in New York City that are ashamed of that behavior and don't support it. So again, they just have so many people that live there, dude. If a Knicks fan was in San Antonio and they're trying to tear a Spurs fan's jersey off their back, we live in Texas. You're just gonna get shot, dude. If you try to do that in Texas, you're gonna get shot by the fan who you're trying to tear the jersey off of, or another San Antonio and Texan. They're gonna shoot you. But anyway, let's talk about basketball. Spurs win 115 to 111. It was an awesome game. Knicks fans, again, I'm not going to put them all under one umbrella, but I've heard a lot of Knicks fans just complaining about officiating and, oh, in the second half, the Spurs had 24 free throws and the Knicks only had 8 free throws and officials suck. Tell me you didn't watch the game without telling me you didn't watch the game. If you just look at the box score and the stats, it's easy to say, just like if you watch OKC, oh, fucking OKC had 5 more free throws than this team. The refs suck and OKC gets all the calls. If you watch the game, the Knicks are just fouling the shit out of the Spurs. The Knicks get into the bonus. It's like 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, maybe even 10, and they're already in the bonus. Wembanyama gets an inbounds and Karl Anthony Towns bumps him. It's just a boneheaded foul. I think Cat picks up 2 fouls in like the first 2 or 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. He gets the bump on Wemby. He has another one where he just gets a dumb reach and foul on Stephon Castle, and they were just all fouls. It just is what it is. Every time Wemby's trying to come off the screen, whatever, Cat's just giving him hugs. Micheal Bridges is grabbing one arm. OG Anunoby is grabbing one arm. Every single time Wemby tries to go up for a rebound, he's getting fouled. Every single time Jalen Brunson tries to come off the screen or do anything, he's getting held, he's getting grabbed, he's getting bumped. Both teams are playing super physical. Both teams are fouling the shit out of each other all series long, and the refs just letting both teams play physical. I'll never blame the officials for my team losing the game unless it's just totally egregious or there's just a bunch of bad calls in the last 2 minutes of the game. But the Knicks had an opportunity to win the game at the end, and they just weren't able to do it. Even in the OKC series, if y'all watched that series, game two officiating is horrible. Hartenstein's getting away with all these grabs and stuff on Wemby. Hartenstein grabs Stephon Castle's hair and gets that hair grab on Stephon Castle. They don't call anything. Officiating was horrible in game two of that series. Officiating was horrible in game five of the OKC series as well. If you think officiating is bad, point it out. I'm always going to point it out and acknowledge it if I think officiating was bad, but I'm not going to say, oh, fucking Spurs had 24 free throws in the second half. My team only had 8. It's the official's fault. We lost the game. It's your fault. Your team lost the game. You didn't out execute the Spurs in the crunch time. And it just is what it is, dude. Just take the L. Again, officiating's been really physical for both teams. As a Spurs fan in game two, I did think officiating kind of favored the Spurs in game two. And I'll admit that. I'll admit that as a Spurs fan. But in this game, I thought it was just really physical both ways. Again, the Knicks committed like 4 bonehead fouls in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Y'all got yourself into the penalty, and it's your fault. Another play New York Knicks fans are going to want to talk about, I think it's the first or second quarter. Jalen Brunson grabs Wemby's jersey, I guess. I didn't see it too much, but Wemby just grabs Jalen Brunson's head and just fucking throws his little ass out of the way. Should have been a technical foul or a flagrant foul at least. Should have been a technical or flagrant. Should have been just a foul at least, and they just don't call shit on it. Just like when Isaiah Hartenstein grabs Stephon Castle's hair, and they don't call shit on that play either. I don't think it should have been a flagrant 2, but should have been a flagrant 1, and should have been a flagrant 1, a technical, or at least just a foul bare minimum. It was really noticeable and obvious. Wemby just fucking grabs Jalen Brunson's head and just throws his little ass out of the way. And I loved it. It's a dirty play. I mean, I'm a Spurs fan. It was just a dirty play. It is what it is. Wemby's on his villain arc, and I'm here for it, dude. But again, Spurs win by 4. Knicks have 46 rebounds. Spurs have the 37. Knicks are getting all sorts of offensive rebounds down the stretch to keep their team alive, and they beat us on the glass. Mitchell Robinson, Cat, they're just big physical dudes out there. And the Knicks, there's a stronger, more physical team than the Spurs, especially their big men down low, to be honest. Wemby, he still struggles with physicality. He's put on 30 pounds since he was a rookie. Looking back to the OKC series, I'll look back to Chet Holmgren. They've both been in the NBA 3 years. Chet Holmgren hasn't really filled out his frame at all, and he still struggles with physicality. That's the best way to guard Wemby, just be physical with him, try to get under his skin, and it's still the most effective way to guard him. But with that being said, he has put on 30 pounds since he was a rookie. It's noticeable. You've seen his frame fill out a lot, but he can still probably put on 10 or 15 more pounds. He's just so tall. The center of gravity is so high that even with him putting on weight, it still might be tough for him to get that kind of leverage. But Wemby has been getting better at dealing with physicality, but that's still the best way to try to guard him is with like an OG Anunoby. Cat's done a great job as well during the series. Just someone who's shorter, has a lower center of gravity. They can get underneath Wembanyama. We'll get to the player stats in a second and talk more about Wemby and everybody else. Spurs have the 28 assists. The Knicks only have 18 assists. The Knicks did a great job moving the ball around. The Spurs rotations were just so crisp, so on point, and so on time. There's a possession in the fourth quarter. The Knicks ran, it's pretty much a perfect offensive possession. If y'all remember, it's maybe 3 minutes left. The play ends up with Landry Shamet trying to go up with the softest finger roll of all time, and Wemby just destroys his shot at the rim. But if y'all remember the play before that happened, all 5 of the Knicks touched the ball. The ball, I want to say Cat's in the post. He kicks it out to OG Anunoby in the corner, and he swings it to Micheal Bridges, and he swings it to Brunson. He swings it to Shamet in the corner, and Shamet pump fakes and attacks Wemby on the closeout. thinks he has the layup. I don't know what Shamet was thinking. It was like the softest finger roll of all time. You just ask him to get blocked, but he goes up for it. And Wemby blocks the shit out of him. But it was basically a perfect possession on offense, but it was just a perfect possession on defense from the Spurs as well. Yeah, New York only gets the 18 assists to start the game. They're turning the ball over like crazy. They had at least 3 or 4 turnovers. I want to say in the first half, Spurs pressure, a lot of ball pressure was bothering them, but some of them were just careless passes. There's one, Jalen Brunson tries to pass it to OG Anunoby, and it's just a little too far left, and OG can't get to the pass, and it goes out of bounds. Spurs pressure was bothering New York, but New York also had some unforced turnovers. Back to that Shamet possession, though, if y'all remember, it was just beautiful, just great ball movement. Starts in the right corner, swings all the way around the horn. Spurs just rotating, just making every rotation, can't get an open shot. And again, it was basically a perfect possession on offense, but Shamet just gets to the rim. And I don't know what he was thinking, but he just gets his shot destroyed by Wemby. But again, Spurs have 28 assists. I don't want to say they did a much better job moving the ball than the Knicks because both teams did a good job just swinging the ball around and sharing the ball. But the Spurs rotations and their physicality on defense was just so on point all night tonight. Spurs have 7 steals, the Knicks have 4. 7 blocks for the Spurs, 6 for the Knicks. That's basically a wash. Kind of the story of the game. The Knicks have the 13 turnovers, which isn't bad. That's taking pretty good care of the ball. But the Spurs only have 8 turnovers to finish the game. Spurs just did an amazing job taking care of the ball. Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Wemby as well. We just really slowed down this game. We were kind of sped up in game 2, especially the last possession of the game. Wemby gets that turnover to Stephon Castle. Wemby gets a great look for a game winner over Mitchell Robinson at the end and just back rims it. Again, I thought we were kind of sped up for a lot of that game, and everyone just kind of took a breath this game, and we were just more poised and just took our time doing things out there and only end up with the 8 turnovers. New York has the 13. I'm sure Knicks fans are sick, of course, with the loss. When the game was over, I've never heard a stadium that quiet in my entire NBA life. It was just, you could have heard a pin drop in the arena. Knicks fans were just destroyed. And I'm sure that they're really crushed. Like I was saying, they had like 3 or 4 turnovers in the first quarter. Some of them were because of the Spurs ball pressure, and some of them were just kind of self-inflicted turnovers. And if they could have cut down those turnovers, of course they would have had a better chance to win the game. But the Spurs do win the turnover battle by 5 turnovers, and that's a really big deal out there. Spurs are 46% from the field, Knicks are 45%, pretty much a wash. Both teams are 35% from 3, so that's basically a wash as well. 78% from the line, 82% from the Knicks. Free throws have been a big problem for the Spurs pretty much all 3 games, especially game 2. I think we missed like 7 free throws in game 2. Wemby missed back-to-back free throws on one possession. I don't think I've ever seen that his entire career before that, so free throws are still been a struggle. Stephon Castle does step up. We're up 2 points. I want to say it's like 12 seconds left in the game, and Stephon Castle just waxes 2 cold-blooded free throws to pretty much ice the game at that point. I want to say OG Anunoby comes back and hits a big 3 to cut the game. Maybe the 3 was before that. Bottom line, though, Stephon Castle steps up and knocks down those two huge free throws to just about ice the game. But 78% from the free throw line, it's not good enough. We need to start knocking down our free throws if we're going to want to win this series. 44 points in the paint for the Spurs, 46 for the Knicks. That's basically a wash. Spurs have 10 second chance points. The Knicks have 21. Again, Mitchell Robinson, Cat, they're just out there just getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. Wemby just locked up the paint so well. Teams aren't getting a lot of shots at the paint against the Spurs because of Wemby's paint presence. So for the most part, you're taking mid-range jumpers. You're kicking the ball out to take 3 balls because you can't get inside the paint. And then when you're missing threes and missing mid-range jumpers, back rim, side of the rim, maybe it's an air ball. You just don't know where the ball is going to go. And it just clanks out for long rebounds that Wemby just can't get to. And then OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Shamit, whoever you want to pick, they're just getting those offensive rebounds. Sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. And when you're taking all those 3-point shots, you just don't know where the rebounds are going to go. And Wemby can't be as effective getting those rebounds, again, just because they're long rebounds out to the perimeter. So the Knicks did a good job. They doubled the Spurs up on second chance points. This is really surprising. New York had 15 fast break points. The Spurs had 5. So they tripled the Spurs up on fast break points. You'd think the Knicks are going to win this game if you just look at that stat, because the Spurs, their offense is predicated on Wemby blocking shots, turning the other team over, and getting out on the fast break. So it's pretty crazy to see the Knicks score literally 3 times as many fast break points as the Spurs and still lose the game. That'd be pretty concerning for me if I was a Knicks fan. One play that comes to mind, want to say it was the fourth quarter. I'm not sure if this counts as fast break points. Y'all probably remember the play. Dylan Harper is on the fast break. It's him and OG Anunoby one-on-one for like the fucking 5th time it's happened this series. I'm thinking, just dribble the ball back out, Dylan. I know you want to go at OG Anunoby. I know you want to get that one-on-one matchup and finish over, around, whatever you want to say. Get a finish one-on-one against OG Anunoby on a fast break situation, but it's just not happening, dude. We love you, Dylan Harper. If you see OG Anunoby one-on-one on the fast break, just dribble the ball back out and set the offense back up. If y'all remember that play, Dylan Harper hits a Euro step. He tries to get to a reverse left-handed layup, and OG Anunoby blocks the shit out of him for like the 5th time, it feels like, this series. And every time it's Dylan Harper just trying to attack OG Anunoby one-on-one on a fast break. I think we're about to go up. If he makes that layup, the Spurs go up like 9 points, but OG blocks it, go down to the other end, and Jalen Brunson gets an and one on the other end. So just one thing I noticed, I'm pretty sure that was a fast break, would count as fast break points. I think Karl Anthony Towns misses a layup, and they get the offensive rebound, and then Jalen Brunson gets that and one. But bottom line, though, if Harper didn't attack OG Anunoby in that one-on-one situation, they wouldn't have gotten that fast break bucket on the other end. But yeah, Dylan's been amazing. My main thing, though, just don't attack OG Anunoby one-on-one in the full court. It just never works out well for any NBA player, to be honest. We'll start with the Knicks. Mitch Robinson, he loves President Trump. Whatever, dude. Whatever you're into, Mitch Robinson. He has 7 minutes. He has 5 points, gets the 4 rebounds. Like I was saying, 4 offensive rebounds. That's all Mitch Robinson does out there, is get offensive rebounds, catch lobs, and just play elite defense. But 5 points, 4 offensive rebounds in 7 minutes. It's honestly amazing production to do that in 7 minutes. They can't play him too much because if they're in the bonus, we're just going to hack a Mitch, and then it becomes unplayable out there. But Mitch Robinson, he had amazing production in 7 minutes. He's getting an offensive rebound almost every single minute, plus the 5 points. So I thought he had a really big impact in his 7 minutes out there. Deuce McBride, he plays 8 minutes. He's 0 for 2 from 3. Does have 1 turnover, so he's basically a no-show out there. He's a spark plug. He can come in off the bench and knock down 3 or 4 threes. He just didn't do it this game. And then he's kind of a liability on defense. He's not a bad defender, but Castle, Fox, Dylan Harper, they can kind of just attack him, especially Castle and Harper, with the size difference. Jose Alvarado, he has 4 points. He's 2 for 5, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He has, I want to say it's the first or second quarter, he hits a little quick floater over Wemby. He has another one. It's basically him and Wemby one-on-one. Alvarado's rolling to the right, and he gets a quick little fadeaway over Wemby. Those are 2 nice buckets. Those are both of his field goals. But he just kind of quick shot it over Wemby and caught him off guard. So those are 2 good buckets for Jose Alvarado. He had a decent impact. Landry Shamet, so surprising. OG Anunoby, Bridges, and Landry Shamet, They've been shooting lights out all playoffs long. We've been saying it for the past month. Oh, they're eventually going to have an off game. They're eventually going to have an off game. They just never have one, it seems like. At this point, as a Spurs fan, I'm not expecting any of those guys to have an off game. I'm just saying that's just who they are. They're just about that life. These guys are going to knock down a bunch of three balls, but thank God Landry Shamet finally did have an off game. He's 1 for 8. He's 1 for 7 from three. And he had some good looks out there. I want to say Wemby, it was either him or Bridges. Wemby blocked one of their shots in the corner. And we're just playing Jalen Brunson one-on-one, playing everyone else one-on-one as well, and not letting them get all those open three balls. I thought Shamet got some good looks, but for the most part, the Spurs did a good job just staying attached to him and making sure his three balls were at least contested. And again, he had some good looks he could have knocked down, but just ended up having an off night tonight. I don't think Shamet, he probably won't have an off night next game, just with how great he is at shooting the ball. But it was just the Spurs really staying attached to him and not letting him get all those open corner threes he was getting in game 1 and 2. Speaking of Bridges, Micheal Bridges, he's either going to be 9 for 10 and score 25 points, or he's just going to be 1 for 5 and score 2 points. Tonight, really disappointing. Bridges has the 2 points. He's 1 for 5 from the field. He's 0 for 3 from 3. 5 rebounds, 1 block. So he always does a good job playing defense and rebounding out there, even if his shot is off like it was tonight. They didn't do a good job getting Micheal involved early. They didn't really draw up any plays for him. With Bridges, he wants to come out in the first quarter, second quarter, get some shot attempts up, see his, maybe make 1 or 2 of his first 3 shots and kind of get into a rhythm. I thought the Knicks did a poor job just getting him involved in the offense and getting him open looks. With Bridges, if he can knock down, like I said, 2 or 3 of his first 4 or 5 shots, he's a rhythm player. He starts to find his rhythm, kind of like Devin Vassell, and you have to get him involved early so he can find his rhythm. They never, again, Spurs did a great job defending him. I want to say Devin Vassell was on Bridges for the most part. Spurs are just switching everything anyway, so it's Vassell, Harper, Castle, whoever it is, guarding Bridges, and we're just all up in his body, all up in Landry Shamet's body, not letting them get these easy looks they were getting in game 1 and 2. And yeah, just not giving him a lot of airspace. I felt like just looking back at the game, he didn't really get a lot of good looks. He does take the 5 shots, but the Spurs were just all over Micheal Bridges, to be honest. So give the Spurs defense most of the credit, just making things really hard on Shamet and on Micheal Bridges. But I'll give Mike Brown a lot of the blame as well. Let me know what you think if you're a Knicks fan, but I thought they did a poor job just getting him involved in the offense early. Just like with Devin Vassell, him and Micheal Bridges are pretty similar players. They can score really efficiently. They can catch on fire, but they're volume scorers. If you don't let them get into rhythm early in the game, they can have nights like this where they just never find their rhythm out there. So give most of the credit to the Spurs defense. They did a great job just pressing up on Micheal and making life hard for him. And then again, I give a lot of the blame to Mike Brown as well, because they just did a poor job getting him involved in the game early, and then he could just never find his rhythm. Same thing with Landry Shamet out there. Jordan Clarkson was awesome. He has the 10 points. He's 4 for 7, 2 for 2 from 3. Hits one in the third quarter. It was either the third or the fourth, but they just passed him a grenade, and he just rips it right there on the left wing. I want to say it was over Castle, but just a really, really tough 3 he knocked down. 10 points on 4 for 7 in 13 minutes. You can't really ask for much more from Jordan Clarkson. They can go to him. They can go to Deuce McBride. They can go to Jose Alvarado. Landry Shamet, they have a lot of good depth coming off the bench. Again, Shamet was off this game. Bridges was off this game shooting-wise. Jordan Clarkson comes in and gives him a really good spark. He's kind of a roller coaster of a player. He's going to be really off, or he's going to be really hot out there. He doesn't play good defense. So if he isn't shooting really well, he's not giving you much else out there, but he did shoot the ball really well. Just gave him an awesome spark off the bench. That That three-pointer he hit, again, I can't remember if it was the third or the fourth quarter, but that was a real gut punch. That was a huge shot by Jordan Clarkson. And again, him, Deuce McBride, and Shamit, they're all spark plugs off the bench. They can catch on fire like that, but there's not a lot of in between with those guys. They're either really hot or they're really off. And tonight, Shamit and Bridges were really off, and Jordan Clarkson was really hot, but just wasn't enough. Even though Clarkson gave him an awesome spark off the bench, wasn't enough to make up for kind of what the other starters lacked out there. Karl-Anthony Towns has been amazing for the first two games this series. Probably wins Finals MVP if it was a two-game series, but it's a seven-game series. Played really good defense on Wembanyama again. Probably the best matchup they can put on Wembanyama. There was at least two or three times, though, we run a pick and roll. De'Aaron Fox had at least two lobs to Wemby. He comes off the pick and roll strong. Cat has to step up, and Wemby got behind him at least two or three different times in this game for easy lobs. If Wemby's isolated behind the 3-point line and Karl-Anthony Towns is guarding him one-on-one at the 3-point line, Cat does a great job just guarding Wemby in ISO. He moves really well laterally. He plays really physical defense. In the second half, he's just grabbing Wemby's arms. He's giving him a hug every single play. If y'all see Wemby, when he tries to go up for a rebound, he's going up for rebounds with one hand. It's not because he doesn't want to get rebounds with two hands. It's because Bridges, Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, they're holding one arm. They're giving him a hug. Whatever it is, and it's all good. And there's going to be people out there saying, oh, well, the Spurs had 24 free throw attempts in the second half, and the Knicks only had 8. Well, y'all got yourself into the bonus 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. And if you're honestly watching the game, they're all fouls. The Knicks are just making boneheaded fouls and got themselves into the penalty. And again, I've heard a lot of Knicks fans trying to blame officiating for them losing the game. And in the end, Spurs just played better, more physical defense, and the Spurs just out-executed the Knicks down the stretch. I'm never going to blame officiating for my team winning. I'm never going to blame officials for my team losing. Again, unless it's just totally egregious and they're just like horrible calls in the last 2 minutes of the game or so. But both teams played really, really physical. And the Knicks just made boneheaded fouls down the stretch. But Karl-Anthony Towns again, he has the 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Again, he's had an awesome impact defensively. On Wembanyama, in this series, 8 rebounds with the 11 points. Misses his 2 threes, and he's 4 for 10 from the field. Spurs are guarding Cat with like Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. Anybody that's not named Victor Wembanyama, you go out and guard Karl-Anthony Towns, and Wemby's going to go out here and chill and just roam the baseline where he's most destructive on defense. Off game for Karl-Anthony Towns again. Spurs made the adjustment. They're guarding him with guards instead of Wemby because Wemby would just press up on Cat and Cat would just hit a rip through. He'd hit a spin move, go all the way to the rim, and fucking dunk on somebody and scream in their face. And I love it. I'm a Cat fan. I'm a fan of most of the players on New York's team. There's nobody that I don't like on the Knicks, to be honest. Unlike OKC, I can't stand OKC's team. These finals have been awesome basketball. It's been physical. And I respect everyone on the Knicks team, to be honest. That's been good to watch. Just some great basketball. But Cat had a really disappointing performance. He'll be the first one to tell you that. And I don't know. The Spurs are definitely starting to figure things out. At the end of game 2, they were starting to figure out some things that worked. They switched to guarding Cat with guards in the second half of game 2. And we're doing the same thing. And he's starting to have some trouble out there. We'll see how Cat bounces back. He still had a good impact defensively. But 11 points on 40% shooting just isn't going to be good enough. They're going to have Karl-Anthony Towns be better if they're going to want to win game 4. We already talked about Bridges. Josh Hart, he was awesome out there. He has 16 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. Of course, he has 9 rebounds. He has the 5 assists. he's just an awesome player. He's so smart. I run little short pick and rolls with Jalen Brunson. You give him the ball in the short pick and roll. He can finish at the rim. Not so much in this series, but he'll catch it, he'll kick it out to the corner, and he ends up with 5 assists. He doesn't, I'm not going to say never. He'll make a bonehead play every once in a while, but for the most part, Josh Hart's always in the right place on offense, always in the right place on defense. Knocks down 4 of his 7 threes in this game. It's crazy how it works because Josh Hart, he shot 40% from three in the regular season. It was just on a lower volume. So the guy you're gambling on shoots 40% from three throughout the whole season. I think the Spurs' strategy is more just go ahead and take 7 to 10 threes. If you can knock down 4 for 10, we're just going to shake your hand. But we're betting that Josh Hart is not going to be able to beat us being a high volume 3-point shooter. But again, this is really disappointing for the Knicks to have such a great game from Josh Hart and have such a great game from Jordan Clarkson and not be able to get it done. But I love Josh Hart. I'm just a big Josh Hart fan, dude. OG Anunoby. I love OG Anunoby. I just love the Knicks whole team, to be honest. I want you guys to lose. Again, probably a bunch of great people in New York. Probably more good people in New York than there are in San Antonio because there's 8 million people over there. But there's also a lot of scumbags over there that are ripping off Spurs fans' jerseys in the street. But even with that being said, I still pretty much love every player on New York's team. OG Anunoby's an absolute dog. I wish he was on my team. He plays 38 minutes, 28 points. He's 9 for 13 from the field. And of course he is. Like I was saying, I'm not even surprised when OG shoots like this. People are saying, oh, OG's on a heater. The whole Knicks team is just on a heater. They're on a Cinderella run. They kind of are. But if OG shoots 9 for 13, if Micheal Bridges shoots 9 for 13, I'm not even surprised at this point. They're just fucking great shooters and great players. But OG was amazing. He has the 28 points. He's 3 for 7 from 3. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. I think they were both on Dylan Harper in transition. Like I said earlier, if you see OG Anunoby one-on-one in transition, Dylan, we love you. Just dribble it back out. Let's set up our offense. Don't attack OG in the open court. It pretty much never ends well for any player in the NBA. He's so elite. So elite at protecting the rim, especially in transition without fouling. For OG, he has another one. Has he had one every single game this series? He's in the corner, pump fakes, Wemby overcommits to the closeout, and OG blows right by him and gets another easy dunk at the rim. He had another one. He spins off, I want to say Stephon Castle in the first quarter, gets another two-handed dunk. He had one more two-handed dunk, I want to say in the third quarter. Just did a great job attacking the rim. OG Anunoby's never going to dribble the ball between his legs or behind his back. OG Anunoby's never going to do some crazy spin move or get into his bag. OG's going to catch the ball in the corner. He's going to shoot it, or he's going to catch the ball in the corner. He's going to do 2 or 3 pump fake jab steps and just shoot it right in your face, or he's going to catch the ball in the corner and he's going to take 3 or 4 dribbles and just dunk it. Just no wasted motion with OG Anunoby. Everything he does on offense is so calculated, and he's just an awesome player. I love OG Anunoby, dude. Jalen Brunson. I don't know how Knicks fans are feeling right now about Jalen Brunson. I love Jalen Brunson. He's one of my favorite player archetypes to watch. I love volume scorers. I love guys that are going to take 20, 25 shots and just kind of die on their sword. Jalen Brunson, he's basically the SGA in their offense. They're going to pass from the ball a whole lot. They're a better offense than OKC. They have more weapons. They space the court out much better. But with Jalen, we're just going to give you the ball. Take as many shots as you want. If you have an off shooting night, which he was pretty off tonight, we don't care if Jalen Brunson's 1 for 24 and it's the fourth quarter. They're going to give Jalen Brunson the ball, and he's going to keep on shooting that shit. But he has 32 points. He's 11 for 25. I said it's kind of efficient. It's pretty inefficient. But again, he's a volume scorer. So once you get to the playoffs, that kind of throw efficiency out the window. Just give me 30 points, and he was able to do that. He's 3 for 5 from three. I want to see he had a big one in the fourth quarter. He does have a shot in the fourth quarter. I want to say right there at the right elbow to tie the game. De'Aaron Fox is guarding him. It's like 4 seconds left. Jalen Brunson gets the inbound. He's kind of coming off a curl, and De'Aaron Fox sags off for some reason, and he pulls up right there at his sweet spot on the right elbow and knocks down that jumper. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Does have the 5 turnovers though. So far through these first 3 games, Jalen Brunson is averaging 4.2 turnovers and 4.2 assists. So he's averaging as many turnovers as he is assists, and that is really, really bad. Jalen Brunson, he has more shot attempts than he does points in the series so far. So hasn't been efficient, hasn't done a good job taking care of the ball. And Stephon Castle is just a dog, and he's giving him so much trouble out there. To Knicks fans' credit, Stephon Castle is grabbing him, he's holding him, he's hand checking every single play. To the hand checking point, it's not in the NBA rulebook, but once the playoffs get started, hand checking is legal again. People aren't going to be calling fouls for hand checking. It's the playoffs. Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, they're getting hand checked on every single play. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's getting grabbed and pulled and bumped every time he comes off the screen. And the physicality is basically even. Both teams are allowed to play with a lot of physicality on defense. So, again, Knicks are playing really physical defense on Castle and Wemby and everybody. And they're fouling Wemby a lot. It's not getting called. The Spurs are fouling Jalen Brunson a lot. It's not getting called. One play Knicks fans want to talk about, I already mentioned it. I think it's the first quarter. Brunson grabs Wemby's jersey, and Wemby just grabs Jalen Brunson's head and just fucking throws him to the side. Like, get your little ass out of here, bro. What are you doing down here in the paint? And it was just a dirty-ass play. To Knicks fans' credit, wasn't a basketball play. Should have been at least a technical foul or a flagrant one. And at bare minimum, it should have been a foul. But they just don't call anything on that. And yeah, I agree with you, Knicks fans. Should have been a flagrant foul, but they just didn't call it. But back to Brunson again. Assist to turnover ratio in this series, 4 assists to 4 turnovers. Every time he gets an assist, he gets a turnover. And he has more shot attempts than he does points so far in this series. So that's pretty rough for Jalen Brunson. I don't think things are going to get any easier for Jalen Brunson. Stephon Castle is going to keep giving him trouble. And, we'll just see how things go on in the series. He's still an amazing player. He's an amazing scorer. But the Spurs just making things really tough for him. He can still score the 30 points like he did tonight, but we're making him take 25 to 30 shots to score his 30 points. Moving on to the Spurs. Carter Bryant gets a quick 4 minutes, does knock down a corner 3 ball, so that was good to see for Carter Bryant out there. Luke Kornet gets the 9 minutes. He has 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. So I thought Luke Kornet had some solid minutes. The 5 rebounds in 9 minutes was pretty good for us. New York, they go to the small ball lineup, and Luke Kornet is kind of unplayable once they go to that lineup. Keldon Johnson had a solid game. He has the 7 points. He's 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from the free throw line. That was really rough. I think it was back-to-back possessions, and he misses 3 of those 4 free throws. That was tough out there. 2 rebounds, does get the 1 steal. Decent game for Keldon. At least 2 or 3 possessions. When Keldon's dribbling the ball up the court in transition, I'm just thinking find De'Aaron Fox, find Stephon Castle. At least two plays in this game where Keldon, he's just coming down in transition, and there's like 2 defenders right there, and he just drives right into them and just gets into a car crash and throws up a pretty crazy shot. So that's one thing with Keldon. He's always had that tendency since he was a rookie, and even until now. I just wish Keldon would just slow it down sometimes. Still had a pretty decent game out there. If he would have knocked down those 3 free throws, he would have had the 10 points, which would have been solid. But Again, just his tunnel vision. His tunnel vision can really hurt us at times, and there was at least two or three plays this game where he just drove into car crashes, and those plays definitely hurt us. He had two nice ones though. Wembanyama fakes a three and passes it to Keldon for an easy layup, and he had another one. I want to say De'Aaron Fox got him an easy layup in the dunker spot as well. But Keldon was decent out there. It's been a really disappointing playoffs for Keldon Johnson. He'd be the first one to tell you that. But we're just hoping we'll get more from him as the playoffs go on because we're gonna need it if we want to win this series. Dylan Harper, I think he was amazing out there. He has 13 points. He's 5 for 18 from the field. Really inefficient. He's 1 for 8 from three. But I thought most of the shots he took were pretty much wide open threes. They're going to give him those open looks just like we give Josh Hart those open looks. And he just wasn't able to knock him down tonight. The one three he made, I'm pretty sure it was in the fourth quarter off a step back. So it was a big three that he did end up making. 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Biggest thing is the 0 turnovers. And he just plays awesome defense. I don't think he's as good as Castle defensively, but it's honestly really close. And when Dylan Harper is guarding Jalen Brunson one-on-one, I just feel really good about him on defense. There's a play, it was like the last 15 seconds of the game. Dylan Harper is guarding OG Anunoby in the corner. Perfect contest, and OG Anunoby just rips a three ball right in Dylan Harper's face, but just played really, really good defense throughout the entire game. I love Dylan Harper taking the 18 shots. Again, he's 1 for 8 from three, but I expect him to knock down more of those as the series goes on because most of those were just wide open three balls that New York was kind of just giving up to Dylan Harper. Devin Vassell was solid out there. 3 for 4 from three, 11 points, 4 rebounds. Just did his job out there. We'll take that. We'll take that all day from Devin Vassell if he can give us 11 points on only 4 shots. Then he's always playing really good defense out there as well. De'Aaron Fox, bit of a disappointing game. He does have the 12 points on 4 for 14 from the field. He's 0 for 5 from 3, so the efficiency is rough. 3 rebounds, 2 blocks. Had a huge block on Karl Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter. Does have the 8 assists. He does a great job just getting 2 feet in the paint and just spraying out to our shooters. He had at least 2 or 3 lobs to Wembanyama in this game, so that was awesome to see as well. And then De'Aaron Fox, he did what we brought him here to do, honestly. He has a big layup, goes around Jalen Brunson with an in and out, gets a big layup in the fourth quarter, and then we're up 3 points. Probably 30 seconds left in the game. De'Aaron Fox brings the ball up the court. He just dribbles the clock down, doesn't pass it one time, gets to his mid-range jumper and just hits a nasty little fall away right there at the mid-range, and that's just his bread and butter shot. It hasn't been going down as much as we'd like it to be going down, but I don't even care, dude. If you're 4 for 14, De'Aaron Fox, then you can knock down 1 or 2 clutch shots down the stretch, and he was able to knock down that giant jumper. That's all we need to just step up in the clutch. That's what we paid you for, and he was able to do it tonight and knock down that giant jumper at the end. If we have Harper, Stephon Castle isolated, they're not going to create that high quality of a shot for themselves. De'Aaron Fox, you can ISO him, he can dance and get to that mid-range and always get a high quality shot for himself. It's just if it's going to go in or not. But De'Aaron Fox, again, did a good job playmaking for his teammates, did a good job defensively. He plays really good point of attack defense as well. And again, inefficient night, but he knocks down the huge jumper at the end, and that's what we have him here for. So I thought wasn't great overall across the stat sheet, but he did what we need him to do at the end there. Champagne, he has the 12 points. He's 3 for 7 from 3. Plays really solid defense as well. They're trying to get the switch for Champagne to guard Jalen Brunson. Champagne is still a really good defender, but that's the one guy that Brunson matches up the best against. He can kind of create advantages for himself. But on the other end, they're basically hiding Jalen Brunson on Julian Champagne. If Jalen Brunson takes one step off Champagnie and they pass Champagnie the ball, it's basically a wide open shot. Even if Jalen Brunson jumps out to contest the shot, Champagnie's release point is just too high, and it's basically just wide open threes for Julian Champagnie. So even if they're hiding Jalen Brunson on Champagnie, they're still trying to get Julian the ball because he can still get really high quality looks, even with Jalen Brunson in his face. I already talked about Dylan and Keldon Johnson. So, Stephon Castle was awesome out there. He has the 23 points. He's 8 for 14. He had 18 points in the first half. Just did a great job setting the tone for the boys. He's 2 for 5 from 3. One of those was just about a dagger. When I say it's less than 2 minutes left, Wemby goes up for that 3 ball and passes it to Stephon Castle at the last second. And Castle just rips a 3. I want to say over OG Anunoby. And that was just about the dagger in the game. He has 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Of course he does. 1 steal, 1 block. Just elite defense all game long on Jalen Brunson. Yeah, man, if Castle has 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, it's kind of what we expect from him. And if he can keep up this level of play, I really like the Spurs' chances for Game 4. Then finally, the big dog himself, Wemby. He has 32 points. He's 11 for 18. 2 for 4 from 3. One of those was a big 3 in the fourth quarter. 8 rebounds. The 6 assists are huge. He did a great job finding his teammates out there. 2 steals, 3 blocks. Of course, he has 2 steals and 3 blocks like he always does. Only 1 turnover, so that was huge out there. We had 8 turnovers as a team, so our whole team just did a great job taking care of the ball all game long. And yeah, Wemby was he played inside out this game like he pretty much always should. You can't just dump Wemby the ball down there in the post and say, all right, Wemby, just get down there and go to some Tim Duncan post moves. He doesn't have that in his game yet. He doesn't have a go-to move, to be totally honest. He doesn't have really even a go-to spot on the court. He can just do so many different things that he doesn't have like one little thing or one little spot he focuses on. I think Wemby's most effective if you can just get him the ball right there at the free throw line, right there at the elbow. He can just rise up for a high quality jumper, or he can hit you with a pump fake and take one dribble and get to the rim. But just Wemby, he probably caught at least 4 different lobs in the first half. De'Aaron Fox did an awesome job. Stephon Castle did a great job just finding him down low as well. Dylan Harper had a couple nice dimes to Wemby. But just throw that shit up to the rim, dude. He's going to catch it and dunk it, or he's probably going to get fouled, or he's going to catch it, bring it down, and go up for probably an easy layup or an easy dunk. People are kind of blaming Wemby. Got to get down low, you got to get down low, and they're right, but again, you can't just dump it down to Wemby and expect him to just get to work in the low post. He's not there yet, but our guard just did a great job finding Wemby. For alley-oops, just finding him down low to start the game, and he got hot just off lobs and just off of shots inside, to be honest, and then that got his rhythm going, and now his mid-range jumper is going down, does knock down the 2-3 balls. He's 8 for 9 from the free throw line, and just had an awesome game out there. He only has the 1 turnover. He really just slowed it down out there. He was playing at a much slower pace. With Wemby, there'll be times he catches the ball at the 3-point line, pump fake. They bite on the fake, and he's just driving inside like he's Stephon Castle, just full speed, full force, driving inside. He might get an out-of-control shot, or he might get a charging foul, and just be out of control. There was a play this game, Wemby pump fakes from 3, gets off the dribble. He just like slow stepping. He just takes like 2 long slow steps, and then he hits a Euro step around OG Anunoby and gets an easy and 1 layup at the rim. And I loved it because with Wemby, he doesn't have to be out of control. He doesn't have to drive to the rim 100 miles an hour. Just pump fake. Take your time. Get to the paint. Just like he did against OG, take a little slow step, Euro step, and you're just so much taller than everybody. You can take your time in the paint and get much better looks for yourself. So I thought the guards did a great job finding Wemby for lobs, did a great job getting him the ball down low in the paint. And like I was saying, Wemby did a great job just being patient. He's getting better and better every game, of course, and it's kind of the next step in Wemby's development. Finding a go-to shot because he doesn't even have a go-to spot on the court, let alone a go-to move. So hopefully next year we'll see him develop a go-to move he can really get to consistently. Um, yeah, like I was saying, that's the one play that stuck out the most for me. He pump fakes. I think it's Cat gets past Karl Anthony Towns. He just basically jogging. He takes two slow steps, Euro step around OG Anunoby. OG fouls him and gets an easy and one layup. And I was thinking, you can just do this all game, Wemby. You don't have to be driving to the paint out of control and getting charging fouls or taking some crazy shot at the rim. Hit the pump fake, get past that first guy, and now just take your time down there. You can get wherever you want. You can get whatever shots you want. And he just did a much better job this game. Just taking his time and just being under control. But yeah, man, just awesome team performance for the Spurs. Our defense was so on point. Again, both teams got to play really physical. I've heard some Knicks fans, Spurs versus the refs, and we just played OKC. We just beat OKC in the last series in the Western Conference Finals. Officiating was up and down. There's games where you could say officiating favored the Spurs or it favored OKC. But at the end of the game, when it's the last 2 minutes left in the game, and it's a 2-point game, like it's been every single game for these first three games, at that point, you just have to make the clutch plays and execute down the stretch. And the Spurs just did a better job this game than the Knicks did down the stretch. But please like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 7 million subscribers. Let me know what you thought about the game. Let me know if you thought officiating was a huge topic in this game, because I think the officials are just letting both teams play really, really physical basketball. It might be getting too physical at some points in the game. In the third quarter, they started calling some fouls to kind of quell down the physicality, but I think officiating has been pretty even for the most part for both teams, and it's just been a really physical series. But please like the video, hate the video, tell your friends, and do something to it. We'll see y'all next time.